There we go.
Sorry.
So anyway, you can go ahead.
We're much better set up now, Elijah. My computer was clearly overloaded, so I think it should be improve the quality, hopefully. Elijah, did you have an intention for the call yourself, or where you wanted to jump before we?
I think that sounds good to me. To me, it's just start, right? Like, just let's make steps ahead where I think at some point the end result is going to be me able to fool around with whatever you have now, and then start the process of integration. Because, you know, no matter what, I mean, I got 20 years of work on design of something that needs a circle, fractal, holonic platform. So I don't think there's a lot of people on the planet like me, but the ones that are like me, we all need some other way to interact. And none of the platforms out there can do it for me. And as you said, philosophically, we're aligned, and that to me is more important than anything. I don't just want to connect with people who are just looking for the dollar or looking to whatever they do. I want someone who wants to change the world in a good, better place. And when we get together and share this way, it comes from a good place, and then it's worth it. But I think both of us have been sacrificing money and all these things because we want alignment. We want alignment with a higher truth, and we want alignment with higher laws, right? So.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, you came to the right person.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You two are. I told you this from the beginning. I'm here. I'm just getting a link for something.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I think what Brett wants from me, Elijah, is to give you some context for the project and where we're at with it and how people are interacting with Noomap. But the thing that you've just reminded me of is our alignment. Like, every time I used to see your images on Facebook, I was like, we've got to connect with this person, like we must. And the only reason we haven't is just purely we live such an unusual life because of the way we're building Noomap. Like, you've probably seen that we, as you've just described, we have avoided a typical commercial model, and we're doing everything through exchanges and gifting so that Noomap doesn't get wrapped up in ownership and a commercial kind of control system. So it means that we hub around. We never know where we're going to be from like one day to the next, and we have visa issues as well. So it's that like it's pretty emergent and chaotic because of the way we do things. But what I really saw in your visuals is I mentioned like my own role in this as a channel. What happened to me was, in the build up to 2012, I was in industry. I was a very heart-based person, but I wasn't like, I actually thought I was an awake person spiritually. And I was writing a book for kids about living in the heart. And then in the rest of my life was spent working in technology as a consultant. And then my life went crazy. And one night I just started to receive information, which was weird for me at the time. I also started to develop psychic abilities, and I went through a very deep process of transformation. But ultimately, what I got through very quickly was I had come. This freaked me out at the time. I didn't believe it, but I had come to help with planetary shift and install a new type of system that was built on quantum law. And I was clueless. I was like, what the heck is a quantum system? I've been working in technology for like years. And I'm like, I don't know what a quantum technology looks like. But I went off and I followed the guidance. I set up a network and looked out for resonant creators. And within a week, I was introduced to Chris, who had conceived of Noomap. And I knew it was what I'd been seeing and getting through. So that's a touch of context. But for the last, I can't believe this. I figured out the other day, I have now been channeling for 6 years, and it felt like yesterday when it started. But for the whole process, I am guided about this new planetary operating system, how we're here to like lead the way and bring it into being in pure gift consciousness. Interwoven in Noomap is a whole new economic system built on cosmology, which I imagine at some level you will understand. But So we've been downloading this, and it has meant that our journey has been unusual. But anyway, what I saw in your seeing and getting through, so it was why I was so excited. I'm like, Elijah's clearly seeing some of this divine blueprint. You know, we're all carrying a piece of it, and I just felt the resonance at that level. So I wanted to share a little bit of that from a spiritual perspective. Like, not everybody's open to that part of it, but I feel you clearly are. But we are guided. We're a very cosmic team, and it puts some people off. Some like they put their whole family for us.
Yeah, it's not normally brought into normal business discussions, but it's so missing.
I know.
So missing.
Well, we work with this lady, you may have heard of her, Susan Davis. She's from California, and she runs the KINS project. And we've been on this journey for a couple of years as Noomap. And we bumped into her beginning of this year. We were talking about the ways we saw people could create that were outside of the old paradigm. She was the first person that said to us, yes, and factor into like all your budgeting, getting channeling, you know, paying for your channeling. And I was like, yeah, we've definitely like starting to meet some like kin now. But yeah, it isn't the norm, and we're not the norm. And even, you know, it would probably, I don't know, it might surprise you that even people who would seemingly resonate with us are a little bit like, you've gone too far. So
I know exactly how you feel. Because you always have to tone it down, and every time you think you've toned it down enough, you haven't. And because people are, you know, you however you think you're in your normal space of talking and what's normal, and then you realize as soon as that eyeball sort of pokes out 3 inches, that's not normal for other people.
We had this conversation yesterday. We, as you will have seen, and behind me, we're working with United Earth that are very aligned with us, and they're looking to develop a universal language. And they were saying to us, you know, we get all this feedback about you guys, like, it's too esoteric. And we're like, we're really working on that. So I think some of us, my belief is, I mean, I have a background in communication. I believe that we're here to begin addressing that problem around how the esoteric world is perceived. And we will get to that point. I keep saying we're going to make it cool, like, and truthful and robust. It's been put in a box and labeled not appropriate. So and I can't wait for you to meet Chris, who is equally is in this space, and I think you'll get on with him brilliantly, Elijah. So. Anyway, that's the context at the resonance spiritual level, and I want you to know about. I always say the team is, there are other beings here with us for sure. I can't see them.
Well, if I can I add I guess an acknowledgement or a knowing that, you know, if that isn't brought up at the beginning, at least with me, I don't think I have much interest. And the people I'm attracted to, or the people I spend time with, are all probably considered nutballs in their own right, in their own circle, but they're all loved. Like, they're all incredible beings. Like, they're in their own way are dealing with the same thing of being in a new paradigm, of seeing things so differently. And it is an unreality from the perspective of the old paradigm. So the people that are in the new paradigm haven't got the media, haven't got the language structures, haven't got the support, where people are watching an old media that's, you know, horrendous to us, and our information isn't getting out yet because we're lacking exactly what you guys are creating, or what I'm creating. What, you know, we need a new media network. We need a new way of sharing information. We need something that supports the truth and the incredible knowledge sharing occurring between people such as ourselves, because we understand one another. As soon as you go into that old paradigm and try to share your work, you're not understood, you're dismissed, you're thrown away, because that's what they do. That's their basic attack program. Yeah. In our world, we want to understand the things we don't understand. We want to do things different. We want to find out why we're in contact with things which other people don't hear. And there's millions of kids out there that are the same.
I know.
And
I know.
they're smarter than everyone around them. They go to school,
I know.
and they're smarter than all the teachers, and they don't even have to do anything. They're smarter than me. They're smarter than you. They're total geniuses, looking at us, going, guys, like, how moronic can you be? Like, to poison your water, or to, like, all the things that are happening on the planet are moronic. We just have to get enough people together to say, okay, let's just admit it. Our species has gone super dumb.
Well, I mean, I can't wait for you to meet Chris. I just said, but Chris is like the youngest of us, and he's just hit 29. And when I met him, quite a bit younger, and he is like genius personality. I think we're all geniuses, so it's not really an appropriate label, but I mean, for his age group, his wisdom and his insight is extraordinary. But we've met other kids like him, like you say, and when they see Noomap, they just get it. And the guidance I get through is that the kids, the next generation, have the DNA. They're carrying the DNA to be able to understand this stuff. So it's one of my passions. We met with United Earth here, and they had in their holon ancient wisdom. I'm like, where's the younger wisdom? Can we add like the youth to this as well? Like they're so bright. So yeah, we'll definitely introduce you to Chris, Elijah. You'll get a sense of that from him too, and he'll love you. I can just tell already. He's going to love you.
Well, I think. Sorry, I was just going to say that both of us are missing an element the other has in order to really be seen, and you have a structure without the content structure, and I have a structure without the structure, and so it's.
Yeah.
It's, I've been waiting for the technology to catch up to this language structure I've been working with, because the technology has to be a certain form in order to even hold it. And without the primary assumptions of holonic fractal circles, all the technology is going to be off, because your interface is going to be off.
For sure. Well,
so I've been working with language structures using circles, other forms, but seeing the difference between when you use a square and when you use a circle, or when you use just these basic forms to organize information, and how that translates on the interface, and how that translates into 2D versus multi-D, because we just keep working with 2D, and we're 3D beings, and we don't know that everything we're looking at is a slice of something else. And when you go into the cognitive noosphere, we're in this multi-D freaking incredible thing with no tools, with no understanding, with nothing, because our current reality of our species is trapped in these pieces of paper with linear thoughts and little maps that don't connect together.
You are just gonna love Noomap. You've got the mind for it. Like, what people don't see, or normally, I mean, you obviously have that perception. I was just sharing with a few people in our group that Jose Arguelles, who you're probably familiar with, who was talking about the noosphere, he says that the noosphere will be preceded by the hollow mind perception. And what I can see in Noomap, and through my own insight, is that it's the ability to perceive reality holonically, i.e. every single thing is interconnected. Everything's entangled. And once you start using Noomap, if you're not familiar with this, like you've just said, everything is multi-D, like everything. You can look at it through this lens, but then you can look at it another lens, and how they're all interconnected. So, and once you're in that mindset, it's actually like looking at everybody else thinking in black and white. We had a conversation yesterday with a group, and they were talking about who is in this group and who is in that group. And I'm like, if you were in holons, you're in all of them, yeah? Like, they're in different arrangements depending on what the intention is. So
exactly,
you're going to get it.
It's all it's all configurations, right? It's all configurations. It's how we arrange the parts into a whole. And as soon as you have the tool to actually arrange the parts in the way you want for the context you're in, you're breaking out of this has to go here, and you keep on having the wrong part at the wrong place, rather than your morphing, your shape-shifting. True shape-shifting is meeting the need of the moment with your best everything, which may mean 3 people instead of 20, which may mean 100 people instead of 2. And if you can't put those things together in a software program, it's too much for the mind right now. It really is. And I mean, and when we come together, there has to be some methodology on screen to actually bring in the ability to change lenses, bring in the ability to change context, bring in the ability to get everybody on board with the same situation, so then you can apply your gifts for the remedy that's needed. And so what I've been working with is a language structure that does that independent of the technology. So I've been playing with it in mind, but it's the technology hopefully brings it together in a way that draws people together and really brings out the best in us.
I can't wait for you to just get in there, like, you know, just play with it and start to map your own conceptual architecture to Noomap. Hang on, at Brett's point.
I'm working on it. Tell Elijah in Facebook to give me a username he would like and his email.
Can you hear that, Elijah? Brett would like to know what your email address, if you can put that in Facebook right now, and also what a desirable username would be for you on Noomap.
Okay.
And just to give you some context for that, is it still that will become the username forever for Elijah if he becomes the first Elijah?
It is. There might be. Yeah.
There might be already one on there.
I don't think it's up to him. It's
We
Captain
don't.
Swoop. What's his name? Captain Swoop.
Brett said you go as Captain Swoop
No, I think
as well.
I'm switching to Love Prophet. I'm moving from the shadow, so Love Prophet would probably be my best username.
Love Prophet.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to share with you, Elijah, unless there's no other Elijah on there right now, it's likely that you would be the first Elijah and you would be the only Elijah on there. So whatever you go for can be.
So if there's no Elijah, that might be fun.
Yeah. Brett can try Elijah. Otherwise, it's the Love Prophet.
Yeah, I'll send you my email.
Mm.
I'm just going to get him an account now. We can change the password later with Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, Brett's setting you up, but he's saying.
We can see it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. How about, because one of the things which I think I can help you with is the limits. It's like what I've heard from Brett so far is that, like everyone, right, it's if you have something that is such gold, at some point you become overcome with too much stuff. It's the Midas touch, right? It's like you've got 100 allies when you really need 10, because you can't deal with the 10 well, because now you've got 100, and so you can't deal with anyone well. So you've got to deal with your groups that you start with and work them to the point of your prototype really being working. And what I have is I have an actual business operating system that can run your business. I have that can be fractaled into anyone running their business. I've got the way to change conversations and to make a conversational flow in a process. So you can take a group of people from a welcoming to an investigation to a needs analysis to a brainstorming to a critical analysis to a design to a finish, you know, in a way that I don't see on the internet right now. We don't have the ability to distinguish conversation types, and so people know what conversation they're in and then actually start to add value lenses and perspectives to bring in the robustness of a multidimensional conversation with a lot of people. So
that's awesome.
And that's just part. Like, I mean, I've been sitting in a coffee shop for 20 years designing maps, trying to figure out how to deal with the insanity that I'm seeing around us. So, I mean, the type of maps, it's all about sort of flows, you know? It's all about sort of taking words and seeing how the words act as lenses and information is flowing through that. So the internet's a big mind, and we're mapping the mind, but we don't have the tool to map the mind. So what we're doing is putting together, you know, essential parts of a new paradigm operating system. It's values based, it's transparent, you know, it's good for the people, it's there to help us rather than to oppress us.
For sure. Well, what I'll do, Elijah, is, I mean, that's I'm already feeling like after this call I need to arrange a second call for you to talk to Chris, but also Kishan, who has recently nominated himself our technical manager, also known as Captain Badass. Like, right. Yeah. So, but he speaks your language. He's very interested in what you're talking about. He came to us in the same way you have. Like, he had a vision of how he wanted to map businesses, and he saw the technology, but he didn't have it. And as soon as somebody told him about Noomap, he's like, "That's the technology I've been seeing." So. he's got deeper with us, and he's running his own project as well as being part of Noomap. So I think you'll have alignment with him. I'll just give you a little context, which Brett asked for, because what my role has been in as a consultant, what I used to do is draw all the parts of a technology project together. So often in technology, people focus on the techies. Yeah, it's all about techies building beautiful systems, but beautiful systems are actually whole and holistic, as in they incorporate like lots of different types of gifts and skills. So one would be what you're talking about, process design and user interaction. The other one might be like how we communicate. So my role as a consultant used to be to bring lots of things together, also business thinking. So in Noomap, I'm kind of playing a similar role. I'm just bringing in cosmic operating systems instead of like a business dimension, which has been interesting. But what that's allowed us to create is something we're calling the Noomap co-creation plan. And I'm just wondering, Brett, have you sent Elijah the plan? So Brett's saying you've got the plan. So what our vision is there is to bring together, like you said, a close-knit community of pioneers together in year one who can prototype with us. So part of the idea there is that they gift something, because we want to build a vortex together. It's kind of like everybody gives together, and then when something comes back, we share what comes back to us. But the gifting is about building a vortex of energy, which is some of the cosmology I'm getting through on higher economic systems. So we're looking for this activation community, and we do have like people that are part of that and work with us. But what we haven't yet done is identified a funder that we wanted to help support them all. So I'm currently engaged in that a lot, building communications to draw in funding to support the whole. But what that means for like people like you is, if you are completely resonant with Noomap and you see your own application, our view is that you can be a community, or you can be a specialist in an application of the software, and we will empower you to develop that part of Noomap. We don't want to develop it all. We want to, like you say, fractal it out until it's a completely distributed, self-organizing system. We don't want to centralize into like Noomap.com.
Right.
So until we get the funding, we don't have the resources to support that. Ideally, we just are doing what we can. And what that means is we invite somebody like you to just dive in and be experimental and emergent with us. We can't make guarantees. We can't say we'll communicate regularly. We will intend that. And we are pretty good when we're in project spaces at doing that. But, you know, like even like as of the end of this month, Brett might have to go back to America. We never know. We're always in the now, I guess. We're always in the now. So what the process is for that at the minute is simply us to get to know each other as deeply as we can. So, you know, we'll begin to show you Noomap. We want to learn about you too. So have more conversations. And then from there, start to identify where the most relevant sharings are. You know, like, do you need to know more about the plan side of things? Do you need to work more with another community who's working with us? So we just get to know each other more deeply. And that's like kind of an exploration space. And then from that, we invite you, you know, to come up with your own ideas around how you might best use Noomap. And we will be synergized with you to support that from both a financial perspective when the money's available, but also in terms of our own skills and so on. So that's very much the experimental space we're in. We can offer more when we find funding, and we have a number of initiatives around that. There's several different avenues for funding around us at the minute. Trying to think if there's anything else you need to know. Is there anything else, Elijah?
Also, that we can talk about, like, people can use us in their business if they have an idea for business.
Well, that's pretty much what I'm saying. But Brett's saying, yeah, you can see Noomap as long as our operating principle is synergy. If you're resonant with us, that's it. It's like the equivalent of an open source offering. You're in with us, we're with you. It's not, we're together in this, yeah? So if there's synergy, we can operate in whatever way feels good to the two of us. If you have like a plan, you're saying, I'm looking at Noomap, I would like to develop like a hub on Noomap where it's got all these inbuilt like support processes, for example, conversation type holons based on what you've just shared. You know, you can create a plan and go get funding and you can capitalize it on whatever way you want. The only thing we ask for is that there's always something that comes back to the community, and that we synergize, so we stay connected. So whatever you create gives back to the whole, and the whole will always give back to you. There's no like, we built this over here, you're not going to use it. It's one shared system. So that's loosely how we're working at the minute. I don't know if there's anything coming up for you around that, and if you had your own ideas before you spoke to us.
Well, I think a lot of the, let's say, originators of new systems are in a similar position where we didn't have the funding and we worked anyway. We were motivated by a higher calling and have been sort of putting in the groundwork knowing that there's a reward, but it may not be, let's say, in the money we think. But deep down we know that when you create value, you will get value. If you're adding value to a lot of people's lives in some way, you're going to have quite a bit of value. And a lot of my own work has been looking at value, valuing, and values. And so to me, the alignment of synergy, I mean, within the inflow matrix, there's choice, flow, synergy, and harmony. Choice is the inner you, flow is the outer you, synergy is the connection with your team, and harmony is what you're adding to the whole. These are the four main goals of this whole operating system. So when you say something like synergy is the key element, that's where we're connecting to me at the heart. And that is more important than anything, because that's where we as humans need to go. If we don't start there, why do we think we're doing anything different? So I've had a lot of guidance saying it has to start, let's say, with no money, but it doesn't. But it shows that I've got 20 years of work. I've got like a lifetime of experience. I have a lot to add to something that you cannot put an equated value on. But but you're the same. And so when two people like that, let's say we come together and we start charging each other, you know, it kind of, you know, it gets into a battle and competition of who's more valuable and who put what in, and already it's screwed because you're in the old paradigm. So whatever is the new paradigm, it has to be based upon some trust. It has to be based upon some generosity first. It has to be based upon what are you willing to give. It has to be based upon, you know, our visions and our technology and our language integrating. It's all about integration. You know, we have to have data flowing through these information lines, and if your values are the ways it's done and your values connect, if we both value cooperation, if we both value simplicity, if we both value empowerment, if we both value inspiration, we're going to get along. You know, and if so just
complete.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow, Elijah.
So I think also what a lot has happened for us is that each of us has been going through a strong shadow path. Each of us has been clearing out the true pains we've suffered since being in this old paradigm since birth, and who knows how many lifetimes. And this is the first time maybe that we're self-reflecting, that we have the internet, that we're not being, you know, killed for talking like this. And we are here, you know, essentially for goodness. I mean, the good guys have been getting slaughtered, in my opinion. You know, whoever are the ones who are running the planet, you know, their intentions are insane. I mean, they've gone insane. Maybe they always were insane, but now the whole world can see it. So the world is changing before our eyes, whether we know it or not. We're entering a new area of space that is changing our consciousness. Humanity is evolving. And some of us in the pupae stage, some of us in the butterfly stage, some of us, you know, will never, maybe they're just going away, but we are evolving into the butterfly. We are meant to be higher beings. There is something more within us that is beyond these limited things that we've been encased upon, these frequency fences, these methodologies of keeping us down. And now we're talking. And as soon as we talk, we feel freedom, we feel power, we feel connection. I mean, I know that we will connect. I know that money's coming in. I know there's hundreds of thousands of people that are willing to jump in, that are waiting for their lifetime to participate in what we are going through together. And I don't know about you, but I've had enough. I've reached my point of putting up with bullshit, putting up with insanity, or putting up with whatever I see. I mean, United Earth, yes. You know, fucking CNN bullshit about bombing people and coming up with reasons for it. No. No, we've got to take the whole world's eyes and bring it to the media that is bringing our species into a peaceful world through remedies, through actual intelligence, through actual humans standing up for the right of defending themselves from being poisoned. You know, like, I mean, every part of our world is being poisoned. Every part of our world is being attacked. And what we need is a worldwide information system to frickin' defend ourselves, to show the good things of what we're doing and the actual facts and data of what is true, and bring all the people, because we are the people. We're the ones who have the actual remedy, not these people creating the problem. So the information is... Sorry. I can't go on.
No, I was just getting... I'm particularly emotional. Like, I'm an emotional person anyway, but I'm hormonal, so it's 100 times worse for me, Elijah. But, like, you know, Brett had this moment yesterday in Noomap. So you'll get to know all the parts of Noomap, but what you shared about this shadow clearing process, you know, our operating system has built in to account for that. So we do a lot of shadow clearing together. We work with some facilitators to help with that. We help each other with that. We allow it to come out. We use a number of tools. And last night, Brett and this morning, are you comfortable with me talking about your bear? He went into a state of doubt. And he just said to me this morning, he's like, money never comes to me. And now, like, it's happening to you, pointing to me, because I used to be wealthy, Elijah, as a business person. And I've got nothing left. I've only got credit card debt now. And I was like, money is easy when you're a manipulator and you're corrupt. That's why I came out of it. If you're a decent human being, you get kicked out the system because it's energetic. And, like, you know, I see Brett bruised by his past, but he's had an insight into life on the other side of the system, as of so many of us in this paradigm. And we have to hold the vibration and take that learning and shift it. Like, it's been such an abuse of the human being, that system. And sometimes we just can't distinguish between, like, what's abused, as you know, and rewind a little bit, but, you know, sometimes we feel like we are at fault. We're not. We have to cleanse the damage that has been done to our nervous systems. So I am so passionate about the people that can hold that vibration, not falling back into that, like, I need to, like, move into an enslavement reality in order to be valid, or I need to earn money to be valid. Like, we will have our resource needs met, and I am really a big believer that we are going to flow tremendous abundance together. Like, based on what I've been seeing, it is going to be phenomenal abundance, but we're going to do it together. And I think that the path so many of us have been on the last few years has been about dealing with the conditioning that came from that paradigm. Now, if you've been in it for 20 years, like, I don't want to be patronizing, because I know a lot of people have been doing this clearing to help us at this point. Like, for some people, it's been a long journey. So, but yeah, we really, like, make room to, like, heal the pattern, you know, of that. And I don't think it's not a coincidence we've all been in that space of, like, having few resources. And when I was in London in the summer, I had through from my guides that, like, when people have few resources, we can see that it's natural to share and take care of each other. And that has been my experience in Noomap. I've had very little financially, but I have had so much wealth in terms of the friends around me and what they've given us and the skills we've exchanged, and which is the sense of kinship and cooperation we want to return to. So that was you were just making me very emotional, just, you know, knowing, seeing, feeling in my heart, like the alignment there. And then what else did I write down? It's left me, but I got a bit excited in sharing that with you.
Well, I
mean, I don't know what, sorry, Elijah.
Exciting times, and I think that I have in the past had conversations like this, which was like a light in the dark, or you know, where people who've been working hard in certain directions, seemingly without help, and I mean, when I say without help, we do get help from our friends, but we don't get the essential help we need to actually get this going. We get the more it's the kindnesses that keep our heart going, because it's you know, just knowing someone is helping you to whatever degree is huge. But now we need to get the help to bring it to manifestation. Now we need to take a stand, and to me, in terms of, like I put on my Facebook, just in a little way, I feel very strongly, if you put me in the room or on the screen with anyone you want to raise financing with, give me 10 minutes with them. And they will sign the check right after that. And if they don't, get them out of the room and bring in the next person. Because, you know, you hold a value, and I can see it, and whatever I hold, I know there's tremendous value. You put the two together, whoever is participating in the creation of this is going to do well. They're going to do well in ways they can't even imagine, because of the good that is coming to the planet through the mechanisms that we hold. And it's time to bring together, you know, the people who have real, you know, power, who have real, you know, commitment, who have real interest in our species. You know, there's been a lot of people working night and day all their lives in some way, you know, with their particular part, and now it's time to bring it together. And it comes together, I think, in the integration of what we have, and the integration of other pieces coming together. I mean, believe me, I'm very, 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 very picky about interface design and who I would work with, and why I would take my 20 years of work and work with you at all, or anybody. I'm insanely picky. May not seem that way, and I mean, I can take off the hat and I can put on the tie if I have to, but basically, you know, insane inventors, they just want their work in the world, you know, and whoever's going to do it, they have to have the heart, they have to have the real reason, they have, like, we have to be here from our deepest heart place to bring healing to this planet, to bring healing to ourselves, to really create the container to deal with what is happening. So you guys are like hugely important. You guys are like at the crux of this doorway, and you've been trying to open the door, you know, leveraging with your little team, and there's these millions of people around you, and they don't know. Just give them a hand. These people need the hand to open the door, and once they do, all you get what you want. But if you don't reinterface, if you don't change how you organize your information, you're going to be stuck in the old paradigm. That's it. You know? So believe me, Brett, it's just the wave is so big that's coming to you. You think it's this little wave, and you're looking at this little wave coming. You know, when am I getting my abundance resource? When is the universe sending me my abundance wave? I put the order in a while ago, and where is it? And it's so big, it's so high that you can't even see it. And you're down here going, honey, I just can't seem to. It's not coming in. And you're going, honey, get a bigger freaking raincoat.
It's so true. Like, people can't get inside of me and see what I hear and see. Like, this is going to be so huge, Elijah. Like, I have had from the beginning, we will create a new governance. It's a planetary unfolding. It is going to take us on a full leap from one system to another. It's not just going to be this gradual trickle in, like, it's going to be a jump. And it's going to be this is guidance, the biggest co-creation the planet has ever seen. This is the planet organizing itself telepathically. Nobody's going to have seen this before. It's suddenly going to come together, and everyone's going to go, how did they all? We're using the divine. So, like, I know it's coming, and Brett knows what I mean. when Brett's in his gift, that is his passion since he was a child, to flow more abundance, not keep it, flow more abundance than any other human being. Like, that's it's in his gene keys, if you're familiar with the gene keys.
No, I think gene keys is huge.
Yeah, we use. So, do you have your path, Elijah? Your gene keys?
I do.
Oh my goodness, you're already like. He's already in the gene keys family as well. That's awesome.
I've been looking at how to take the gene keys and program it into the business system. So you're programming your whole thing into, how you're setting up your job. That makes sense.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, even, we use them all the time for our healing and helping each other. So Brett's gene keys are all around big money. He's like the cosmic entrepreneur of the gene keys, which is surprising, because he hasn't spent a moment in business yet. He has these inclinations. Are you still there? Oh yeah, I thought it had frozen. Was on the synergy principle. We'll come on to it when we do a demo for you of Noomap, and you've probably seen it through the sharings we post, but synergy is at the heart of what we're doing. So once you have like an interconnected holonic network, the things that bind the holons, and the holons can be anything, ideas, visions, intentions, passions, skills, resources, and it goes on and on and on. If you imagine all these entangled holons, the things that creates like a relationship between them are synergies, and the synergies can be simple or complex. So a synergy could be like, you and I share the same passion, so we're going to feel good around each other. That is one type of synergy. Another synergy might be, I have a resource that you need, and you have the need, I have the resource. So together, and we have a resource to exchange, the synergy is heightened. And what we're seeing is that as Noomap begins to identify these synergies for people, we'll start to see that there's a willingness to cooperate that's beyond money. It will include money, but if you and I have if there's like there's something that's bigger than the both of us that bonds us together, that is going to drive us into cooperation. So it's an accelerator for cooperating and working in a trust-based world, just using this principle of synergy. So you'll get to see some of that as you get to see Noomap, but it's core to Noomap, and it's also why Noomap has a lot in common with Barbara Marx Hubbard, who I assume you're aware of. And we work with Barbara, but Barbara goes in and out with us. Like, I think we even scared Barbara. She's one of those who, like, she's there. She's been talking about what we're building forever. And then when she met us, she was like, oh my goodness, you're building the synergy engine. And then she hung out with us and she's like, when are you going to get a B Corp? Like, no, we're not getting a B Corp, Barbara. And she's like, I don't know how you're going to land this. So she's beautiful. But, even there's been some of the older model, and that's just natural for Barbara. She's 84. But if you're familiar with Barbara, we get a lot through, or I get a lot through, that a lot of her concepts are coming through Noomap, and we see them, especially the 7 S's of co-creation: synchronicity, synergy, following your syntony, which is your passions and your desires. Like, they're all possible in Noomap. I just thought it was worth sharing that with you because it's a big theme for us here.
Well, I think if there's a difference between what Barbara Marx Hubbard did in her map, at least maybe she's adapted or changed it, but to me that's the wheel, the harmony wheel of the outer group. And then I've been using like Ken Wilber's like outer group, outer individual and inner individual as the main model, right? I mean, it's a good model.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the basics. And so what I saw missing, at least in her model, was the other 3 levels, because you have to bring it back to the next level. So I was using the same pattern at each level, and that's the fractal, and that's the way to really move it together. And then I bring that to someone's attention, and no one would ever listen to me.
Oh, it's for us because we're like, Barbara's wheel isn't a flat wheel. You're all seeing this flat image. In Noomap, this fractal dynamic living system, and it's made up of fractals.
Yeah.
Because and even Barbara, you know, she to some extent uses that lens. We're like, it's not quite a wheel that you see on paper, Barbara. Like, it looks very different when it's in Noomap.
Yeah, and that's
obviously
that's just huge. I mean, that's the technology being able to keep up to the model, and you know, no matter what, it's a huge sort of step to go into a multi-D noosphere, where you know it's people are doing it on DMT, and they're doing it in ways that are beyond our mind, right? And then we're trying to use our little mind to figure things out, which isn't necessarily that good, but I believe that, again, once the tool is there for them to use, then it's just a matter of using the tool. I mean, basically, you've got a game interface that keeps going in, and you know, the kids are going to take off. Like, as soon as you have something like Noosphere, and you connect it to the same idea of games with points and stuff, the kids will just start building their own, you know, empires, really.
Yeah, have you seen our gaming proposal document, Elijah? I don't know what I sent you. It might be worth sending that on. We have a gaming thing. It's a brainstorm, Brett's saying. Yeah, we have a gaming. We want to gamify Noomap. We've always known we want elements of it to be gamified, and then it comes up in different contexts how people are seeing gamifying co-creation. So again, with all your mapping, you might see some of that. We just have some initial ideas in a Google Doc, so Brett will send them to you. It'll just help you understand, you know, you don't have to comment or anything. It'll just help you get closer to some of our ideas. Right. But I see that with the kids. You know, we shared Noomap at a presentation last week. There were some young people in the room, and Noomap, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's shared some visuals on Facebook. We plan that because everything's prototype, it's not, we just have bits, you know, that have been developed to show ideas. So the ideal in the future is when you synergize holons, you go to synergy view, and you come out of that interface that Brett shares a lot of, and you get into like this 3D space where there's holons, and the holons are like you can view them in formation. So you can create a sphere, you can create like a flat wall, and you can move the wall around. But the idea for us is for that to become 3D in time, and for you to use like touch screen. So it might be a big touch screen table in a community. Chris has an idea of like a room or a dome, and you go in and you can move your full body to move the holons around. And like we were sharing this in this presentation last week, and the young people, well, pretty much everyone in the room was like, oh my goodness, that's like amazing. Like they love that, like the moving from just out of mental computer design into full body interaction with information. So that doesn't come through in what we share all the time, but it's certainly like a big part of it, and the kids get it instantly, you know, they love that part of it. Brett's just showing up.
I was here. I was just setting up some Noomap stuff for you, so we can before the call we can.
Just while you just have a little chat with Elijah, I'm going to see if Chris is available just to say hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I set you up with it's all in Facebook. So you have your username is Elijah. Your password right now is your email. Chris can change that, but there's no need to worry about that right now because no one's on and no one's hacking or anything like that. And I put a few holons into your storage holon, which you'll see when you sign into Noomap. Up on top, there's three main holons. One, it says me, storage, and co-creators. So inside the storage holon, there's a couple holons for you to have reference to, a way to find me, Chris and Andrea. You can message us on Noomap through the chat function. I'll show you all this stuff, in a screen share and just like walk you through it quickly. But I'm also going to show you how, because you should pick it up easy, create your own holon type. So you don't just have to map like intentions and visions or whatever we have available. You can actually create your own like for all your maps and everything. So That's really all you need, is to be able to create the holon types for yourself, and then to start creating them, to start getting looks, to see how it feels when you actually do it. Because then it's like, for me, I don't have a background in technical web work or graphic design or anything. So like when Chris and Andrea talk about ideas of like what Noomap looks like, I can't understand it visually. I have to actually play with it to make, like, to have an experience and be able to feed back. I need to actually like play with things. I can't actually, it's hard for me anyway, to actually imagine how they work in my mind. Once I use them, then it's much easier to like give feedback and create things. So.
How are you feeling, Brett?
Oh, I don't know. I have, I have old issues that keep coming up. I mean, it's similar. It's an old or recurring pattern thing that I haven't dealt with like fully, which is related to experiences I had when I was younger. I had a psychotic episode when I was 19, and I got put into the psych system for 10 years. So medications, locked away, shot up, tied down, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of stuff related like to that. So
yeah.
You want to introduce?
Yeah, I'm just Elijah. I've just brought Chris in. I just wanted to introduce you and say hello. I just think you're going to be brothers immediately. Chris, you can maybe just say hello and tell Elijah a bit about yourself. Elijah, maybe you can do the same.
We haven't met before, have we?